Okay, thank you so much to all of our panel members for your stunning, stunning contributions. There's so much that they've given us to reflect on, to debate, to agree with, disagree with, to add our own stories to, in order to affirm how important the truths are with which we agree. And I've got about 10,000 questions, provocative ones out of curiosity, my own stories, but I want to shut up. I want to open to the floor immediately. And I want to invite you to do several things. So it really is a wide-ranging conversation. You can tell us who you are, tell us your story, what's on your mind as a young person, what matters most to you. I do have one curiosity, I must say. I had a youth forum on my radio show yesterday with South Africans between the ages of 20 and 30. This is a younger demographic. I'm very curious how you feel about the country that we live in. That is my interest as an older person coming into your space, hearing what it is like being in South Africa in 2017 at your age. But also feel free to disagree. We're allowed to have some debates. Feel free to also raise issues that you think matter profoundly that perhaps did not come up in any of the four opening contributions. Okay, if you put your hand up, I'll recognize you. We'll take a bunch of questions from the audience, and I'll give my panel members a chance to respond to any of the ones that they'd like to respond to, and we'll proceed with 2 or 3 rounds from the audience. Don't be shy now. Do we have any roving mics, by the way? Okay, we've got a couple of roving mics. Okay. Can I have one here in the front, kindly? You're all going to warm up as we need to leave. I know how these things go. So you must get in your questions now. One to the lady in front, and then we're going to go all the way to the back after that. And it's a safe space. Just speak from the heart. Don't worry how it comes out. I want to hear your stories, your feelings. Just speak. Tell us who you are and which school you are from.
Hi, I'm Katle Wachake. I'm from Norman Secondary School. From anything from her and both their stories is that she talks about respect to others. And in my community, okay, as maybe, say for instance, my mom sends me to the shop, and there's going to be a couple of older men that old enough to even be my grandfather. And then they're going to call out to me, obviously, because my mom told me don't talk to strangers. And you can see how they're calling you out. Maybe they want to ask you out. I'll just ignore them. And then when I ignore them, this is what they say. Turn up today, don't have respect. So I don't understand that if they say I don't have respect, if they can't even respect me as a minor, that I'm a child to them. That's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can we get a mic right to the back?
Hi, so my name's Kamala. I'm a little bit older than the panelists. I'm in university already, and I just wanted to speak to this issue about the strikes and the violent nature and how it disrupts and stuff. So coming from a university background where we had fees must fall, and one of the arguments were that these protesters are disrupting other people's right to, go to lectures and have an education. But I just want to unpack this issue because I don't feel like it's as simple as that when we look at access to education and how that is disrupted on a daily basis for people who either can't afford it or because of like transport issues or family issues that they're not making it to school or because they don't have adequate access to sanitary towels, so they're not going to education. So like in terms of strikes and disrupting that, these people's education are disrupted on a daily basis. So when we strike or when students strike, it's a form of saying, hear me, because we need to have this conversation now, rather than it just being this violent thing and, not having a vision or just wanting to be looting like shops and stuff. So I just feel like that needs to be discussed more because I don't think it's as simple as people just wanting to be violent or gain their own personal interests.
Okay, thank you, Kamala. Amanda, I'm going to ask you to think about that question and respond to her. Are you being unfair on strikers? Are there different ways of getting attention when you demand justice other than striking? So you can start thinking about that, but let's take a few more comments or questions. Whoever has the mic.
Hello. My name is Biola April, and I'm from Queens High. I actually was thinking while one of Queen's kids was speaking that the youth of today, they don't care about each other. We'll see one of our youth in the streets, something bad happening to them, like an older guy talking to them, trying to do something bad to them. But we won't even think of helping them. We only care about ourselves, our looks, and the way people think about us. We should care about each other like we sisters and brothers. We shouldn't chase people away from us. And I've like seen it a lot that we don't care about each other. We just care about the popular ones and just want to be ourselves and be famous.
Thank you, Beulah.
Hi everyone, my name is Abulele. As I'm listening to all of you talk, well, the first three, all I'm hearing is that the youth does this, the youth does that, and you should do this and you should do that. I'm hearing less of this is what I'm doing to contribute on the change, to contribute in the influence that as the young people we could have if we start doing greater things. I think, like, as I'm listening to you, sure, you're telling me that this, what I'm doing is wrong, and that is what I'm trying to, that is what I should be doing to better my future. But what are you doing to be an inspiration to me? Because I think that it would be much easier for me to look up to someone who's probably my age, same gap, difference, what am I saying? And like, the generation gap is less, rather than I have to look up to someone who's as old as Nelson Mandela. Oh, that dude is
He's very old.
as old as, you know, and yeah, that's my point.
Thank you. Makaziwa, I'm going to ask you to respond to that one, eh? She wants your receipts. She wants to know what are you doing instead of telling her what to do.
Hi everyone, I am Shania Stenefeld from pre-eminent secondary, and I have a question for the young girl from Queens. My question is that we have been talking about blessers. We've been talking about guys that have been talking to girls and sexually harassing girls in streets. But when are we going to speak about the women, the cougars, the sugar mummies? When are we going to speak about what the women are also doing wrong? That's all I have to say.
Hello.
I was hoping you'd say more. I think you've got a lot of gossip from where that's coming from. Let's take one more, and then I'll ask the panel to respond.
Hello. I would like to take a viewpoint on the topic of that lady. She said something about perpetrators being males instead of females. Yes, most are males, not females. And what's happening out there is that as male, we do bad things in order to have financial gain. And then female, in the other side, they will come chasing for my money. And I will take that lady to a tavern. We buy drinks, we drink, and have fun. Afterwards, I expect to take the lady to my main bedroom. What happens? She tells me different stories. She wants to go to the bedroom. She wants to go and talk to the friend outside there, which she is using to avoid me. And then I, as a male, I'll be like, oh no, she's making a fool of me. She drinks my money. She gets my attention just for this. And then in my head, what will happen is that I'll overreact toward what she was like, she was a sweet person at first, but now she's showing me another thing or another color, which I never saw. That's why so many males are the ones which are being viewed as perpetrators. She came to me nicely. The conclusion of this became what? Murder, rape. Who started it? Her, not I.
Okay. Can I just, we're going to ask the panel to respond. Um, the young man with level 4 blesser status, what is your name? Lesejo.
Lesejos Lindanese.
Okay, thank you, Lesejo. I'm going to start firstly with Thelma. So this is how it's going to work. You don't have to respond to everything, right? Although we are sitting here, we are not gurus, we are all in conversation. You can also pass if you want to on this round, or if you'd like to respond to what you heard, you can. And although I've asked each of you to respond to something specific, you can also just turn down what I had said. We're going to start firstly with you, Thelma, if you'd like to respond.
Yeah. So in response to Leseho, I would like to say that as a guy, if you're taking a girl out just to be in bed with her, then you're wrong. Because you shouldn't just want that from her. You should be able to wait. You should be able to respect her decisions. If she says no, then it's no.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like, oh, because I spent money on her, I bought her a drink, then I have the right to her body. No. Life is not that way. If you love her, you respect her decisions.
Woo!
Thank you.
Before I ask Amanda to respond, Lesejo, do you have what do you think? What do you think of?
Yes, sir.
What do you think of what Thelma said?
She's right, ne? A girl does have a right to say you. As I too have a right to say no to her immediately when she approaches me and say, please, can you buy me some beer or something? I have a right to say no. But the attitude she's approaching me with is so very sexy, sir. You know, like, ladies are so tricky in such a way, like, she could be someone so bad, but her first approach, she will be so impressive. She will charm me, show me something like I never saw from the lady where I've come from. You know, I see her, like her, ne? She's so beautiful now, ne? I approach her, we talk nicely, as I'm shelling her, something like that. The girl felt something for her. And then the next thing in her mind is that I will fool around with her mind, his mind. That's where he will start doing all the negative issues and negative things, which will change my behavior. And while I'm a nice guy. Some things, guys, happen because of what has been done to you before you can do it to be something bad. You come with a bad attitude, I'll respond badly. So it's so bad for a person to come to you straightly, nicely. And then at the end, what does she do? She shows me something I never expected or I never saw while she was approaching.
How old are you, Lesejo?
I'm 19, sir.
Sorry, how old are you?
Sir?
How old are you?
I'm 19.
I'm very, very sad that as men we have failed to role model to you how to be a better young man.
No.
Amanda, it's your turn.
Responding to the university lady there at the back, I agree with you. There are many ways to be heard and voicing out our opinions. But during today's strikes, that's not what happens. That's why in my speech, I tried to show the revolution that happened from back then when Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu and other heroes were striking and protesting. But in today's world, it's different because there's no peace, and in every strike, we know, man, looting is going to take place, destruction is going to take place. So if Yeah, I'm done.
Are there other ways of fighting for a more just South Africa other than striking? And with striking, maybe, are there any circumstances, Amanda, for you under which any kind of violence is ever acceptable when you are trying to demand for justice? Or do you think violence must never be a choice that is chosen by any activist?
Um, the top structure of our government is supposed to show us the way to lead our lives in the country. So if they can't do it in parliament, I don't think the rest of the country can do it.
Okay. We're going to move on. Hi, Cynthia. What would you like to respond to?
The lady at the back, I think.
Just speak into the mic for us.
The lady, I don't know her name. From which school? That's your school, I think. Yeah, she said something about having to be approached by two old men old enough to be your father, probably your uncles. But then, as I said, that respect is a two-way thing. You earn it. You don't just pull it from a tree. So just because you were disrespectful by two people that you probably don't even know, don't stoop that low to their level. But just ignore them and be you. After all, they don't add value to your life. Only you know what you want in the future. So you should not be discriminated or privileged by such things.
Makaziwe.
Okay, so I'll start by answering the girl from my school. I believe that we all play a part, as minor as it may seem. We are the youth. Social media is our platform, and we have many mass medias to show our way that, you know what, we are facing problems and we're trying to address them. So for me, I'd say that I am a social activist. Even if you could go to my Facebook account, you could see that I'm talking about social issues that we as the youth are facing, and at the same time, I'm also trying to solve them. But then it's not a one-day thing. Rome wasn't built in a day. So I think we should just use the platforms that we have to solve the problems that we are facing. And okay, so to the girl who asked about sugar mummies, I think every female in this building understands that we have a caring nature. We do not have this aggressive nature as men. Because I, as a woman, if I am a sugar mummy, I have the responsibility to take care of whoever Benten that is with me. I'm not going to go with my Benten and look at Karabo Mokwena, the girl who got brutally murdered for the past few months. Okay, past month. Do you think any female would do that? It was obviously a male person who did that. So I don't think it's any female person would ever do that, because they know, we have this caring nature as women. We have this feministic side that, you know what, I have to take care of this person, and I'll try to my best ability not to be detrimental to them. And I think that we as a society need to start practicing parentism, because as she said, an older man will come to you and be like, oh, hey, you could be my girlfriend. I truly believe that older men need to start taking the responsibility of fathers and father figures to people out there, because men out there are just not playing their part. The only thing they're thinking about is sustaining themselves, getting the sex, getting the free sex, which is actually taking our youth to this other hole. And I don't know. I truly believe we need parentism. Yeah.
I love your mind, Makaziwe. Honestly, I really do. If I ever have kids, I hope they're as brilliant as you are. But I want to come back to you. We had you on the panel last year, didn't we? I remember. You almost had me in tears with your absolute brilliance when you shared your personal story with us right here a year ago. So, and I know that you are very sharp. I think Makaziwe is onto something. Cougars have real power. However, in a world that is deeply misogynistic, it is true that a Ben 10 is far less likely to get murdered than a young lady at the hands of an older man. So I would like to know whether you are convinced by what she is saying. How do you respond to that? She's not denying that women can also have power over Ben 10s, but the gender element means